for a fantastic round 10 clash between the Central Queensland Capras and the Luxury Paints Ipswich Jets. Great to have you with us on Phoenix Radio, phoenix.com.au.
Smith somehow right down the instant touchline, 12-4 the score. Well, the first attacking opportunity the Capras had.
Welcome to another edition of After the 80, where we bring you all the up-to-date local rugby league news. I'm your host, Ben Wilmott, and joining me on the panel today is Rob Hawkins, the Ipswich Jets Colts coach. Thanks for joining us, Rob. Manager, sorry, mate.
I should be upset if you say that.
Yeah, will be. And on my right, I've got the double Brendons today. We've got Brendon Marshall from the North Tigers, and we've got Brendon Lindsay from the Ipswich Rugby League. Thanks for joining us, boys.
Cheers, mate.
And we had plenty of rugby league on this weekend with the IRL competition kicking off as well. We had the Norths unfortunately not getting the win against the Goodna there on the weekend for you, mate.
Yeah, mate, Goodna just way too strong for us. Up the middle, they got us through the middle and just scored plenty of points on us.
Big pack.
Big pack, yeah. Hard to bring down, mate. Yeah, so a few sore boys.
Well, today on the program we'll be discussing the weekend that was in the QRL and the IRL, the Ladies' Day at the Jets' home ground of the North Ipswich Reserve, and our predictions for the Queensland Maroons team coming up on the weekend. Now, on Saturday, the Jets unfortunately did lose to the Burleigh Bears in a penalty-driven game. Guys, what did you make out of that one?
Yeah, obviously the Jets boys obviously playing with a little bit of lack of confidence, but hopefully they can look towards East this weekend and turn it around.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised that the Burleigh Bears didn't get a few more tries in that game, but they still managed to win mainly on penalties there. Was that a little bit disappointing to see the Jets conceding the same kind of penalty repeatedly?
Brendon?
Oh, look. They should have scored more points with the penalty count against them, but full credit to the Jetty boys. They defended well and they defended a lot, which in the end cost them the game.
They had a lot of possession early in the first half as well. It was a bit disappointing that they didn't capitalise on that.
They did. They had Burleigh walking a fair bit, so their execution at the end I think really cost them.
The return of Wes Conlon though, that's got to be a good sign for the Jets.
Yeah, Wes is a bit of a leader for the club, and no doubt it might take him a game or two to get back up to speed. But from the clips and the shorts of the game that I saw, it's not going to take him too long. So it's a bit of a character as well. So the boys should rally around him.
Yeah. And good to see him returning from an ACL injury as well. See any player coming back from an injury like that's great news for the club.
Yeah, he's definitely a buoyant member of the team. So I think it shows the boys that no matter what sort of adversity you come up against, if you've got the right mindset, you can come back. So that sort of result, against the penalty count should be something that the boys can turn around pretty quick. I'm sure Ben and Shane have addressed that already, and to only go down by 2 converted tries in a game that you really probably didn't have control of is really a ref's call or a bounce of the ball, really. So I think that they've got that wasn't out of reach for them, even though they didn't put their best football forward. So.
Well, the Jets haven't had too many wins, unfortunately, this season, but they've always been in the contest, haven't they? So Ben and Shane Walker would still be keeping pretty positive, looking forward to the second half of the season.
Yeah, I think so. I think you just have to look at most years of football. There's always someone that starts off with not too many wins that comes home fairly strong. I think the style of football they play with that many players left at the end of last year with their NRL contracts and bringing a lot of players in, it's a style of football that requires a lot of familiarity, and I think the longer the season goes on, the stronger that'll become. So.
Well, the Burleigh Bears are definitely one of the teams they'll need to be beating in the second half of the season if they're looking to end a little bit higher than where they currently are. If we look at the Intrust Super Cup ladder at the moment, that brings the Burleigh Bears, I think, still in the 3rd position there. With the Townsville Blackhawks getting another win against the CQ Capras, that leaves them firmly on top. Hasn't really changed much in quite a few weeks now, with the Hunters in 2nd place as well. Do you think there'd be a few more changes before the end of the season, though?
No, Townsville are a pretty strong side, and obviously the Hunters, you can almost guarantee that they'll win every home game. it's such a tough trip up there. But I suppose the game that surprised me was the Northern Pride and Redcliffe Dolphins. Redcliffe have been travelling pretty well this year, and I really thought they'd go up there and get a win. But obviously, the Pride are quite tough at home, but obviously put in a good performance against a very, very strong Redcliffe side.
Definitely. I mean, it's always a little bit disappointing to see the Jets as far down the ladder as they are at the moment. But even last season with their premiership run, they still weren't leading the competition at this point of the game either, were they? No,
they weren't. And as Rob has just alluded to, there's been a massive shift in personnel there and the style of play. As I said before, they're probably just lacking a little bit of confidence at the moment. That could change in one game or one moment in a game. That the way they play, a bounce of the ball, I think they'll be fine. They just need to continue to work hard and compete, which both Ben and Shane are quite tough on, and as long as they're competing, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. And Brendon, another team that would be looking to turn things around after a couple of losses will be the North Tigers. You got a big day on the weekend as well with the Langer Trophy.
Yeah, we do. We obviously coming off a few losses now and a few tough ones. So a win this weekend would be good. We lost a lot of guys in the middle too. We got 3 front rowers that we're missing at the moment, and a couple of other senior players still yet to come back. So we've got to. It's no excuse for our losses. We've got a few blokes there that can come up and play that. We just got to. Keep believing in it and just keep working hard on the footy field.
Yeah. Well, as we see with the scores up on the screen at the moment, there was a 30-10 loss to Goodna, but wouldn't be feeling too hard done by, because Goodna have been flying pretty high for this season, haven't they?
Yeah, look, there's no panic stations yet for us. There's a couple of little tweaks we need to work on. Nothing too major, which Nobby's obviously addressed with us, and that just comes back to training and that, and on Tuesday and again Thursday, work hard towards. Hopefully we can keep that Langer medal at home.
Yeah, definitely. Well, another one of the early performers so far has been the Swifts Bluebirds. They've been great form at home as well, haven't they? They gave you a touch up at home as well, didn't they?
Yeah, well, I noticed one thing with the Swifty guys. They did bring a few kids up from reserve grade this year into their A-grade squad that have stayed there, and obviously a winning formula for them. So full credit to them, and we've obviously got to try shut these young kids down now. So and win a game this weekend for us.
And BL, what do you reckon? It was a little bit surprising to see both North and Brothers down the bottom end of the table there. Two grand finalists last year, haven't? Yeah,
look, I guess there's probably been over at Brothers a change of coach and a little bit of change of personnel there. North, as Monkey just said, it's a huge change in their pack this year, which has given some young kids an opportunity to have a taste against men. Usually takes a few weeks, a few games for the guys to find their feet, just with the speed and obviously the physicality. So look, again, it's the IRL's it's a long season for the amount of teams in it. So there's plenty of opportunity. You've only got to reach the 4 to be in the hunt. But I guess just touching on Swifts, it's just probably a testament to how they're playing the game. They're playing really patient football and obviously playing to their strengths out there, and which is good to see.
And injuries haven't really helped the Brothers, that's for sure. I know Jason Connors went from coach to being out on the field himself on the weekend, didn't he?
I really don't understand that decision from Jace, but he's now, I think he's now officially the oldest bloke in the IRL, is he? 43, 44, I think. Look, I saw a bit of that game on the weekend as well, and Jace accounted himself quite well. But yeah, look, Fassifin touching, Ray Bearer out there. He scored 3 and kicked 1,000 goals, so he's one of a danger man. But again, it's obviously up to the teams to be, whoever's being the most consistent over that 80 is obviously looking at getting the win. So
yeah, well, we've got Scott Ireland still doing the job from both coach and fullback as well. He seems to be scoring a try a game as well. He's doing well.
I think Brendan Marshall. I think you've just got him though. What's he, 35, 36?
No, he's a lot younger than me, of course. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see how the weekend's games pan out for the IRL, but we'll have to go to a break at the moment. After the break, we'll be having a look at the Ipswich Jets Ladies' Day that happened on the weekend at North Ipswich Reserve. Back again soon. Welcome back to After the 80, and it was Ladies' Day at the home base for the Ipswich Jets on the weekend, who are celebrating the women's involvement in a great cause and raising awareness about domestic violence amongst the Ipswich Jets community. All the ladies got pampered and enjoyed an afternoon of indulgence whilst hearing some moving testimonials. We've got a bit of footage from the weekend, so let's take a look at the Ladies' Day at the Jets.
Our event today was the Afternoon of Indulgence. That was to focus on helping raise money for the Ipswich Domestic Violence Action Centre. We're hoping to raise $4,000 to $5,000 today. We're also playing in our purple jersey, which is to signify our relationship with DVAC. Traditionally, we play in a pink jersey. This year, we're playing in purple.
In my early 20s, I became a mother, and I vowed to make a difference, to be the difference. I haven't got it right all the time, and I continue to learn and grow within myself and within this realm of motherhood, but I can honestly say that I've made a difference.
I think it's great that the Jets have got on board for such a physical sport that, they don't condone violence in the home. That's wonderful.
Bystanders are important because they can act in a different way. They're in a different position than both victims and perpetrators are. Victims can't stop the violence. If they could, they would. And perpetrators generally won't or don't want to. So bystanders have a really important role to play. And I guess the other point I wanted to make is, what message do we send to both victims and perpetrators when we don't act? The message that we send to the victim is that no one cares or that the violence is okay. The message that we send to the perpetrator is similar. It's, I'm going to get away with this and no one is going to stop me. And we're also implying that there are no solutions, which is not true either. We know that we can fix this problem.
We have over 260 ladies here today getting pampered, and all money raised does go to DVAC, and we're excited about what happens in the future with the Domestic Violence Action Centre.
Well, it certainly looked like all the ladies were enjoying that day at the North Ipswich Reserve there, and another great example of the Ipswich Jets community engagement there, with joining together with a couple of great initiatives.
Yeah, it was. Nicole works tirelessly on a lot of those community activities, and that was just one example. I mean, obviously it's something that we believe in as a culture at the Jets, that we want the community support, so we want to support the community in any way we can as well. So it's a good way to bring the two together. So. And
the jersey as well looked quite striking on the field. A bit of the purple and the pink combination there. Yeah. Again, Nicole has a lot to do with those. I know Brendon has in past years always been partial to the pink jersey, but no, Nicole's said to me that they're still for sale. So if anyone's interested in picking up one of those purple jerseys, they can contact the club. And but it was a good day. They reached their goal of $4,000. It was raised. It all goes to DVAC. Yep. And again, I think for the second or third year, it's been a sellout. So. Excellent. Well, we had another big event on the weekend in the NRL as well. We had the huge double header at Suncorp Stadium, where they sold out the crowd of 52,000 seats and showcased the greatest two teams from Queensland, the North Queensland Cowboys and the Brisbane Broncos. First up, we had the match between Melbourne and North Queensland, and Michael Morgan slicing straight through. It was a great game, and a bit of a surprise to see Melbourne take it away from the defending premiers.
Yeah, definitely. This was probably the game of the night for sure, and I guess it just showcased what Melbourne are good at, just grinding out a game. Obviously, North Queensland have strike power all over the park, and probably had a few chances to win the game. But Melbourne's ability to hang in there and probably make tackles like that to save tries, and then obviously over to Cam Smith to slot a goal. Well, it was only his second in his career, but what a moment to sink the defending premiers at Suncorp Stadium in front of a sellout crowd. That's how you'd want to do it, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. Oh, look, he's not the captain of Australia for nothing. I don't think there would be any pressure there on him, and obviously he was close enough and took his opportunity. So yeah. Well, we had the second game as well, was the Brisbane Broncos and Manly Sea Eagles. That one didn't go. It wasn't an upset at all. The Broncos seemed to carry away with it. No, I still think some of those games where you're expected to win can be danger games, but Brisbane didn't let up at all. They continued to push on. So
I think it was a good performance by them.
You think the loss against Melbourne's only going to spur North Queensland against Brisbane when they play each other this weekend in Townsville?
Yeah, it's going to be obviously going up there is tough. They're unbeaten this year, and it was only 1 point in it, and it was the game of the round. So there's some heavyweight games coming up, and that's definitely one that I'm sure Brisbane and the Cowboys will be looking forward to.
Well, I know one man who was watching all 4 of these games on the weekend, and will definitely be looking at this weekend's game, was Kevy Walters, as he's trying to make his Queensland selections. I think he probably would have liked what he saw from all 4 teams there, with a heavy representation from each.
Well, yeah, I think seeing both of those two sides, the Cowboys and the Broncos playing the footy they did. I mean, Cowboys went down by 1 and Bronx, got an easy win. It just shows that obviously Kevy and the Cura board's got a hard task of selecting that first side for game 1.
You think there's going to be any surprise selections in this year's competition? I think the biggest matchup this weekend will probably be Cole Felt and Corey Oates.
Yeah, an interesting one. On the wing, I'd probably think that's probably maybe 1 or 2 of the decisions that need to be made. I think just looking at the games last week and obviously the performances that they'll no doubt put on the park this week I think Queensland's in a very, very good position. They consistently play good football. Even GI, being out a little bit wider on the weekend, showed what he can do. So it's always the case. Queenslanders tend to play really good football around this time of the year, and it's not let down again in 2016. So,
you think having that kind of carrot of playing for Queensland or New South Wales is really stepping up the kind of competition quality that we're seeing about this point in the competition?
Yeah, of course. It's a massive part of our game, the state of origin, and it's probably the pinnacle in Australia at the moment. So, look, again, as I said, Queenslanders always tend to start playing some good footy around this time of the year, so it's good to see again.
I think Michael Morgan definitely put his hand up on the weekend. He's been in great form and is very useful as a utility as well.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously Milford unfortunately won't be available for selection, but he's another one waiting in the wings, and his performance on the weekend again is just cementing that the ability of some of the players that at this time of the year is great to see.
Well, they'll be happy to have him during the Origin period as well for the Broncos, that's for sure. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens between Brisbane and North Queensland on the weekend, but after the break we'll give you a complete rundown of the games to come this week in the Queensland Rugby League and the IRL here on After the 80. Welcome back to After the 80, and as always there's a big weekend ahead in the Intrust Super Cup, kicking off this weekend with the Ipswich Jets hosting the East Tigers back at North Ipswich Reserve. It's the second home game in a row for the Ipswich Jets, and another good chance to get the Colts BRL and the Intrust Super Cup all together. It's got to really help the players having the teams all together. Yeah,
look, I know the players all enjoy supporting each other's teams too, and can't help but feed off the positive feeling around it, because a lot of them are friends off the field as well, so it definitely helps. So.
Especially with the BRL side doing so well. Defending premiers, haven't lost a game so far this season. They're doing pretty well. Yeah, there's a good vibe around those boys. They're all very upbeat, and again, it's contagious. So it's good, especially for the Colts. It's good to see them. That as an example to follow too. So Well, there's some big games in the Intrust Super Cup this weekend. Sunshine Coast Falcons and the South Logan Magpies. That'll be a good matchup as well. And the Burleigh Bears taking on the Northern Pride. That'll be a good one to keep an eye on. But how do you think the Jets will be able to handle the East Tigers this weekend after a disappointing result against the Bears?
Yeah, usually a good rivalry between the Jets and the Tigers. Not too much love lost, so should be quite a physical encounter.
Yep.
Look, I think the boys, as long as they keep positive, they'll turn a corner, and hopefully it's this weekend.
the Walkers aren't short of positivity, that's for sure. So, but they really do need to kind of start kicking in about now, don't they? They've got 3 home games in a row. You lose all 3 of those. With the Hunters next week, it's not going to get any easier for them. So they wouldn't want to be exiting this period with a none from 3.
No, I don't think so. I think they're moving in the right direction for a win, and I really hope it is this weekend. I did have a chat to Ben and Shane on the weekend. I said to them, and obviously the boys know as well. There's only a little fine tuning they have to do. And I said to them, once they do click, I said, if they play finals, and good luck to the teams that are playing finals with them again. So it's only a fine little tuning. Those boys know exactly what they can do to get it out of their players.
Getting Wes Conlon back and Sam Martineau back last week, and that'll be a great boost for them. And plus their young players that have been stepping up at the moment in Damon, Robinson and Ben White as well. They've all been going really well for the Jets, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the boys have been performing well, and as Rob just touched on before, the BRL side is their performances. So there's plenty of guys knocking on the door there. So it's going to be an interesting encounter on Sunday.
Well, hopefully that winning feeling's a bit contagious for the BRL side. Well, we've also got some plenty of big games in the IRL. I think the big one for you at Norths, you're hosting the Swifts in the Langer Cup.
Yes, we are, and again, that's going to be a good weekend of footy for us down there. Obviously all 3 grades are going to be playing there as well, and the A grade obviously playing for the Alan Langer, the Langer medal, the Langer trophy, I should say, and we can turn our season around now and hopefully get a win on the board and start getting a bit more confidence back through our younger guys in the team, and the senior boys can just lead from the front.
Yeah, will be a good contest, that's for sure. And we've also got a tough contest for brothers, having to face Goodner again. I mean, they've gotten touched up by Goodner only 3 weeks ago, and now have to take them at their own home ground. So that'll be an interesting one to see how they manage to back up. They know what they're in for now. Yeah,
look, very interesting. Goodner's putting a fair squad together. They had a couple of guys, experienced guys, out against North last week, and was still able to get the win. So should be a very tough encounter, and probably looking at it, probably the match of the round for the IRL this weekend. So it'd be interesting to see how the guys go.
And good to see Laidley getting an A grade match there as well with West End and Fassifern. Both teams, they'd probably would like to be having a home game themselves, but it's a good chance to get out to one of the pitches that aren't usually getting used.
Yeah, definitely.
Good facility out there too. It's good facility out there, good ground. So.
Very good. Yeah. Look, it's obviously we've got the Valley Dragons out there. They're not quite in the A grade comp yet. They've got a reserve grade and under 19s teams. So we try and obviously showcase our competition, the A grade competition in those regional areas. So it's a great initiative. Yes, probably both coaches would like to be at home, but for the betterment of rugby league, it's great that they've been willing enough to take their game out there, so it's great.
And hopefully the fans will follow suit and come out and support the game out there in Laidley as well. It's a good chance to get out to a field that doesn't usually get seen that much in the IRL A grade. But unfortunately, that's all the time that we have this week on After the 80. I'm your host, Ben Wilmott, and I'd like to thank my guest, Rob Hawkins, not the Ipswich Colts coach, but the manager. Thanks for coming on board, Rob. And 2 Brendons as well, Brendan Marshall from the North Tigers. Thanks for coming, mate. And Brendan Lindsay from the IRL.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks. And that's all we have time for this week on After the 80. Join us again next week where we talk everything rugby league. Thank you.